Monitoring of your crops is vitally important to be effective in managing pests and diseases without wasting time, money and energy.
It also enables you to intervene with pesticides or biological control at the right time, but in addition, it also lets you know whether or not they've been effective.
A good monitoring program can give you peace of mind. It means that you're actually on top of any problems that might be going on in the nursery. It can also save you money by not wasting effort on things that aren't there.
You're not putting out bushfires. You're actually able to manage at the appropriate time.
Frequent observation of our crops allows us to keep a better handle on how the crop's performing, pick up any problems before they become major. Occasionally we might spot spray a problem without having to spray all of the crops. We have a lot of little small volumes of niche crops that are special. If we can spray out a problem in a restricted area, it saves us time, effort, chemical.
Monitoring is a very important part of integrated pest management because it allows you to actually identify specific problems and then have the most effective option for managing those problems.
Yeah, integrated pest management is looking at a systemic way of managing your pests and diseases. And this means you have all sorts of options available. Some of these options aren't very effective if you don't pick up the pest and disease problem early enough. So monitoring becomes absolutely critical, being able to identify and to take those decisions as early as possible.
Everybody on the farm or the nursery should be responsible for crop monitoring. Staff working in the field or in the glasshouses, harvesting or packing, will see things that generally can't be picked up that easily. But there needs to be one person with the specific responsibility on the farm for running the IPM program and for collecting that data.
We're always monitoring to try and maintain the quality of our crops, and if we don't, the pest and disease can get away and we can potentially lose a crop.
There are only a few basic tools that you need for effective monitoring. The first of these that I recommend is a Time10 hand lens. Okay? This is effective for almost all of the monitoring that you'll need to undertake. It enables you to identify different stages, it enables you to identify fungal structures and so on. However, there are some things that are too small that won't be effectively seen with a Time10. So here I have a Time30, and this will be able to see a lot more detail from a lot of those smaller pests and diseases. The second, a very simple tray like this, which is just a beating tray. You can even just use a piece of paper. The difference is piece of paper, if the plant's wet, the piece of paper, of course, can then get wet. But you need a really distinctive, usually a white background, to be able to see the pest. Basically, would take a material and you then just tap it like this, and then you look to see if there are any pests that have been dislodged. Having done both of those things, of course, you need to record. You need recording sheets, you need a pen, and it's simply a question of recording that information as appropriate on your sheets. Use a hand lens, and you'll notice I've used a bright colouring here. First of all, so it'll go around my neck. Secondly, so if I drop it, I can find it again. The way that you would use this is it has a focal length, 2.5 centimetres. If we take this leaf here, you'll see that I would bring this approximately 2.5 centimetres to focus. I would then bring my eye down near to until I've got it exactly in focus. A lot of people tend to do this or tend to do this, and you certainly won't get the result. Like this, you will actually see it moving in and out of focus, and once you've got it fully into focus, you'll get 10 times magnification.
The correct identification of pests and beneficial insects and diseases is really essential in the IPM program. You need to be able to specifically deal with a particular problem. Certain chemicals will only work on certain insects or certain diseases, And if your identification is incorrect, then you're wasting time and money on trying to manage things. If you misidentify something, you may actually end up with more problems than you had in the first place. Certain chemicals will only work on certain insects and certain diseases. Certain biological controls will only manage certain stages of particular insects. Some of the most common pests that you can find in cut flowers would include caterpillars, aphids, whitefly, mites, slugs and snails can be an issue. Some of the diseases that can be a problem as well would include botrytis, mildews, powdery mildew and downy mildew. Some plants are particularly prone to rust funguses as well. There are root rot diseases as well, which at certain times of year can cause real problems. Beneficial insects can play a big part in managing pests in cut flowers. Ladybirds are a great generalist predator that feed on things like aphids and whitefly larvae, small eggs of moths and butterflies. There are parasitic wasps that will take out caterpillars, other insects, aphids as well. Brown lacewings, which are a wonderful little predator. Green lacewings, damsel bug. When you're just starting out, it can be a bit daunting trying to identify pests and diseases. There are quite a lot of resources out there to help you. Some are provided by the industry bodies. This particular project has been working on several fact sheets that give you information about insects with good pictures to show you different stages of those insects and where they're common. It also gives you lists of diseases that can be a problem in cut flowers, things like rust diseases and mildews and botrytis. There's a lot of information on the interweb, but you really need to be careful about using that as your key source. Looking for experienced information consultants, Department of Ag agronomists and advisory people, if you're not sure, to get you started and help you with those original identifications is the important thing. Monitoring is critically important. Without actually identifying what a particular pest is or a particular disease is, you can't make an effective decision about how you're going to manage it, what chemical or what intervention is going to deal with it.
Monitoring is equally important for determining whether or not, when you've made an intervention, whether that be biological control, whether that be chemical, whether that be just waiting to see how things are occurring, monitoring is going to assist you in every one of those to determine how effective they've been.
Being able to identify specifically what a pest is and what life stage of a pest is there is very important. It allows you to make the right decision about how you're going to intervene, either with a biological control or with a chemical control.
And we need to consider not just the pest, of course, but the diseases as well, because it's exactly the same with them, whether they be fungi, whether they be bacterial diseases and so on. You don't need a lot to undertake a monitoring program. One trusty time-10 hand lens, one expensive tray, okay, white or even just one piece of paper, one recording sheet, one pen. That's all you need to get an effective monitoring program in place and to record the data.